4 days. That's all it took in November 2025 for the entire AI landscape to completely flip on its head. Claude Opus 4.5, GPT 5.1, and Gemini 3 Pro were all released within just 12 days of each other. And right now, each one is claiming to be the best. But here's the thing, they're not competing for the same crown. Each one is winning in completely different categories. And depending on what you're trying to do, you're probably using the wrong one. So today, we're going to break down exactly which AI model you should be using for your specific needs. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll know the answer. Let's talk about what just happened. In the span of 12 days, we saw 3 major AI releases that fundamentally changed what's possible. On November 12th, OpenAI dropped GPT 5.1. On November 18th, Google released Gemini 3 Pro. And on November 23rd, Anthropic launched Claude Opus 4.5. Each one had a completely different philosophy. OpenAI focused on speed and warmth. Google went all in on context, literal millions of tokens. And Anthropic, they doubled down on something nobody was talking about: efficiency. They wanted to do more with less. And it worked. So the question becomes, which one should you actually be using? Let's start with Claude Opus 4.5, because honestly, this model is absolutely dominating one specific category. Claude Opus 4.5 is built for one thing: coding, and not just basic coding. We're talking about understanding entire code bases, refactoring massive projects, fixing bugs automatically, and writing code that actually works on the first try. The benchmark scores tell the story. On the SWE-bench verified test, which measures real-world software engineering tasks, Claude Opus 4.5 is scoring 80.9%. That's above the 80% threshold, which means this model can now navigate unfamiliar code repositories with incredibly few errors. It's basically reached the level where you can point it at a codebase and say, "Fix this bug," and it'll actually do it reliably. Now, who should be using Claude Opus 4.5? If you're a developer, an engineer, or anyone working with code regularly, this is your model. If you need to refactor legacy systems, debug complex problems, or have an AI that can work autonomously on coding tasks for 20 to 30 minutes straight without human input, Claude Opus 4.5 is unbeaten. The cost is $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens. It's not the cheapest, but for coding work, you'll save those dollars in time and accuracy. Now, let's talk about GPT 5.1. And this one is different. This is not just a faster version of GPT-5. This is OpenAI saying we're making AI smarter and warmer at the same time. GPT 5.1 comes in 2 flavors: instant and thinking. Instant mode is optimized for everyday tasks: travel planning, email drafting, quick brainstorming, casual conversations. It's 2 to 3 times faster than GPT-5. And it feels more like talking to a friend than talking to a machine. The responses are conversational, helpful, and genuinely engaging. But here's where it gets interesting. GPT 5.1 doesn't just have one personality. OpenAI gave it 8 different personality presets. So if you want a professional tone, you've got it. If you want something more casual and fun, that's there too. This is the first time an AI model has really nailed the concept of personality adaptation. It's not just different words. The entire tone and approach changes. Then there's thinking mode. This is where GPT 5.1 flexes its reasoning muscles. For complex problems, multi-step math, deep code analysis, research synthesis, GPT 5.1 thinking takes its time and goes deep. And here's the brilliant part. It automatically detects whether your question is simple or complex. On easy questions, Thinking mode is about 2 times faster than GPT-5. On hard questions, it's about 2 times slower. But that slowdown is intentional. The model is allocating more processing power where it matters. On benchmarks like AIME 2025 and Codeforces coding challenges, GPT 5.1 thinking is absolutely crushing it. This model is now the fastest growing option for researchers, analysts, and anyone who needs deep reasoning. Who should use GPT 5.1? If you want the warmest, most conversational AI experience, this is it. If you need something that feels less robotic and more helpful, GPT 5.1 is your answer. If you need both speed and depth, and you want the model to automatically decide which one to use, this is uniquely positioned. The pricing is competitive with GPT-5, making it a solid all-rounder. And then there's Gemini 3 Pro. If you haven't heard about this one, you're about to understand why Google just completely changed the game. Gemini 3 Pro has a 1 million token context window. Let me put that in perspective. That's 50,000 lines of code. That's 8 average-length novels. That's 1,500 pages of research papers. That's 200 podcast episode transcripts, all processed simultaneously in a single request. No chunking, no workarounds, just raw processing power. Think about what this means. You can upload your entire codebase and ask, what patterns are we using inconsistently? The model sees everything at once. You can upload a year's worth of customer support tickets and ask, what are our top 10 problems? It analyzes them all together, finding connections across tickets that a model with limited context would miss. You can upload a 400-page legal document and ask specific questions about Clause 47, and the model understands the entire document's context, not just the part around Clause 47. The benchmark results? Gemini 3 Pro is scoring 1501 ELO on LAM Arena, the highest score ever recorded for any AI model. It's beating GPT 5.1 on key benchmarks. It's showing PhD-level reasoning on humanities' last exam, and it's doing all of this while processing insane amounts of information. But that's not even the coolest part. Google also released something called Generative UI with Gemini 3 Pro. You can describe a web app, literally just describe it in natural language, and Gemini 3 Pro generates the entire functional interface, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all of it. No templates, no preset components. Just describe what you want, and it builds it. This is what Google CEO Sundar Pichai called vibe coding, and it's going to fundamentally change how non-technical people build software. Who should use Gemini 3 Pro? If you're working with massive documents, code bases, or data sets, this is unmatched. If you need to analyze patterns across huge amounts of information, Gemini 3 Pro is the only option. If you want to use generative UI to build interfaces without coding, this is exclusively Gemini's territory right now. Researchers, lawyers, data analysts, and anyone working at scale should be testing this model. Okay, so here's the thing. You can't just pick one. Different models for different jobs. If you're a developer or engineer, Claude Opus 4.5 is your daily driver. It's the best at coding, it's efficient, and the effort parameter gives you incredible flexibility. Your code quality will improve, and you'll spend less time debugging. If you want a general-purpose AI companion, GPT 5.1 is unbeatable. The personality adaptation, the warmth, the adaptive reasoning, it's the most human-like AI experience available right now. It's faster than everything else for everyday tasks, and it genuinely feels like you're talking to someone who understands you. If you work with large-scale information, Gemini 3 Pro is not a choice, it's mandatory. The 1 million token context window gives you capabilities no other model has. You can process entire projects, documents, and datasets that would completely overwhelm other models. And generative UI? That's the future of no-code development right now. But here's what I want you to do. Don't just take my word for it. Go try all three. Spend 15 minutes with each one. Test them on your actual work. Because the best AI model isn't the one with the highest benchmark score. It's the one that makes your specific job easier. And that's the thing about December 2025. We're living in an incredible moment. 6 months ago, we were debating whether AI could even code reliably. Now we have models that can code autonomously for half an hour straight. We're debating whether AI is getting warmer and more human-like. And the answer is, it depends on which model you're using. We're processing documents that would have required entire teams of analysts to sift through, and one model can do it in seconds. So, tell me in the comments, which model are you most excited about? Are you team coding with Claude, team personality with GPT 5.1, or team context with Gemini? Because honestly, the future isn't about picking one. It's about knowing when to pick which one. If this helped you understand the AI landscape better, hit that subscribe button, because we're releasing videos on how to actually use these models every single week. And trust me, the next 3 months of AI news is going to be absolutely wild. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.